Destruction.
Heartbreaking.
Inhumane.
Injustice.
Denial.
Atrocity.
Dark.
Sacrifice.
Unbearable grief.
After the war, the US-inspired Cold War meant that Japan's aggression and the atrocities that accompanied it were swept under the rug. Japan had to be rehabilitated and made into a counterweight to communism in Asia. The peace treaty signed in San Francisco in 1951 was a disservice to all those in Asia who suffered or fought Japanese imperialism. It was also a disservice to those soldiers of the Allied powers who gave up their lives fighting in the Pacific. And so Japan's wartime aggression and crimes were swept under the rug. Nanjing was abandoned a second time. That is why Iris Chang's book was so important. Today, we still encounter resistance to commemorating Nanjing. But as Canada changes, it is all the more important that we embrace a global perspective on issues of remembrance and commemorate Nanjing today and into the future.
Honourable Member for Vancouver East.
December 13th, 2017, events will be held on Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC to mark Nanking Massacre Commemorative Day. 80 years ago, Imperial Japanese Army forces raped an estimated 20 to 80,000 Chinese women and girls, and some 300,000 people were killed. Documents of the Nanking Massacre were included in the UNESCO Memory of the World Registry. Tekka Lit from BC Alpha worked with the BC NDP government and developed a resource guide including the Rape of Nanking. Thank you, Canada Alpha, for your dedication in ensuring that Canadians remember and learn from this history.
This annual Human Rights Day Student Symposium is organized to help us to better understand and reflect our human rights violation during the Asia-Pacific War from 1931 to 1945, and to make connectedness to contemporary local and global issues. We should all be mindful that when exploring the subject matter, we are not targeting at any nation, culture, or people. Rather, we are focusing on the nature of the atrocities and lessons we should learn from this chapter of history. If you are of Japanese descent, do not assume any guilt. And if you are of other Asian descent, do not assume victimhood. Rather, we should make ourselves bridges for reconciliation and justice.
I think it's important for students to particularly know about the war crimes that took place in the Asia-Pacific War, because it's a very Eurocentric history, particularly taught in BC curriculum and in Canada. And I think it's really important that they get a full understanding of the history of World War II. It's important for them to connect. A lot of my students do have background and connection heritage in around Asia, and I think as global citizens, they need to know about what has been going on worldwide and what continues to happen today.
If you study what has happened and get some understanding as to why it happened or how people can become complicit in it happening, then maybe they'll be more aware of what's happening around them rather than sitting back and saying it doesn't affect me, therefore it's not so bad. I'm still doing okay, so I'll carry on. And that doesn't matter whether it's in the political field, the military field, the social field, or the climate field. We need to be aware of what we are looking at and what we're ignoring.
I wanted to thank the committee for the way that they started the symposium today. Rather than pointing fingers at particular individuals or particular nations, it's important just for us to recognize that this is part of our shared history as humans. And so it's important for us not to demonize particular people or particular nations, but to understand that they were perpetrated in particular nations and that those nations do have a responsibility to respond. So I just wanted to say that the committee did a great job this year of contextualizing the whole debate.
As the host school, and my students are the ones that are doing most of the work, this opportunity for them to learn more and to see other people's reactions and to see from the other side, not just the facts that I teach them, but to see the inside of what we get to see. These are opportunities that are really good for my kids and really worthwhile, and I can see them growing every day that we've hosted. I'm very proud of them, but don't tell them I said that.
This year marks the 80th anniversary of the Nanking Massacre. We are very honored, to have Ms. Tamaki Matsuoka, nicknamed Conscious of Japan, to be the keynote speaker to talk about the work around issues of the Nanking Massacre in this symposium. From her beginning as an elementary school teacher in Osaka, Tamaki-san became one of the fierce advocates for remembrance and recognition of the 1937 Nanking Massacre. And in the past 30 years, she was able to track down over 250 Japanese soldiers and interviewed 300 Nanking Massacre survivors to record their testimonies.
I started a hotline specifically for ex-veterans of Nanking Massacre to come forward. There were 9 Japanese former soldiers who participated in Nanking who were willing and offered to tell their stories to me. Well, during the day, during the week, I worked full-time as a school teacher. I devoted every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, in search of stories and traveled throughout Japan. In Japanese society, that there are very strong right-wing nationalists who still deny and they claim that Nanking Massacre and the invasion of Asia never happened. Were you aware that this denial exists in Japan? Do you know? Have some of you heard about the denial?
I am Tamaki Matsuoka. 私を支えてくれる人たちたくさんいます。でもとりわけ南京大虐殺の被害者、生存者の人たちがまずいつも私が言った時にまず言う言葉があなたは学校の先生でしょ。だから私たちはこんなに苦労したこと、こんなに辛いことを日本の人にきちんと伝えてね、頑張ってねっていつも励ましてくれます。だから私が悲しい時でも彼らの言葉、それを受けて、あ、頑張らなきゃいけないんだ、私は頑張るぞっていう気持ちが湧いてきます。でもね、私思うんですけれども、信念だけでは行動してはいけないと思います。科学的な調査と、それから人のやっぱり痛みをね、私もやっぱり最初はなかなかそういう分からなかったです。でもこういう調査を続けていって科学的な根拠、調査にはね科学的な根拠がいる、客観的な根拠がいる。 っていうことがだんだん分かってきました。それに重ねてやはり弱い者がね傷ついたその痛みをやっぱり私たちは代弁できるだけの力量を持たなきゃいけないなと思いました。私は日本政府がね謝罪をすべき、謝罪するかどうかどう思うかではなくてすると私はさせなきゃいけないと思っています。だから私たちが諦めきれずにね謝罪と賠償とそれから教科書に載せるという後の人の教育、これはね政府にさせるのが私たちの役割だと思っています。力は私たちの力弱いです。革新の政党の力も弱いです。でも私はずっと実現するまで続けていきたい。それは被害者の人たちのね思いに応えることです。そしてそれも私たち日本人が誇りを取り戻すためだと私は思っています。
I have never had an opportunity to hear an individual speak so candidly and truthfully about their work and what is happening currently and in the past in Japan. And I think the students were riveted listening to her.
I'm hoping that maybe at these commemoration events, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, that people will take time to think about these things and think about how we stop doing them in the future. And I think that's the point. As Tamaki-san today, Asan said, I'm so happy that there's an attempt at reconciliation and to be reminded that the Japanese people aren't bad and they're not avoiding this. That it's heartening to see someone taking such efforts to make sure that these stories are told. And I think they're so worthwhile, and we're so lucky that she was here today.
Thanks to Tamaki, she inspired me to come out of my shell and be more of the social justice warrior that I want to be.
Today, we have learned about the stories of those who suffered or died during the Asia-Pacific War. Now, we gather here to commemorate them. We would like to follow the footsteps of people such as Iris Chang, who have striven to bring these atrocities and the questions they raise to the forefront.
We want to make sure that these catastrophes are never forgotten and will never happen again. War has always been the breeding ground for such atrocities, and we would like to express our strong wish for peace.
On behalf of my class, I offer my condolences to those who suffered at the hands of the Japanese forces in Nanking during the Asia-Pacific War. And it is of great importance that the world learns of atrocities such as this. So I thank Tamaki Matsuoka for taking on this important campaign for education, and I would also like to thank BC Alpha and Theka Lit for organizing this event. Thank you.
The Rape of Nanking was one of the most horrendous massacres in our history today. Today, here, we learn about our history. No matter who you are, no matter your race, your faith, your gender, your sexuality, or even your social status, you have the right to speak, to act, and to be whoever you want to be. So today, we must come together as one to ensure that the Rape of Nanking stays in history and is never recreated ever again.
By looking at our past and looking through the symposium's various workshops and themes, we can see that by delving into our past, we can make better decisions in our future in redress and reconciliation. I strongly believe that on behalf of myself and my fellow classmates, as well as individuals in this room, have learned an immense amount today and are really excited to move forward in engaging in dialogue and discussing about issues that are pertinent to our society and our communities.
The horrific human rights violations that took place during the Asia-Pacific War are stark reminders of what can happen if we are not careful. We thank those who have spoken to us today and their extraordinary bravery. We also thank the teachers who have taken their time to teach us about this, and may we all learn from them, carry those lessons with us, and do everything in our power to stop anything like the atrocities that happened from happening again.
Such loss, such suffering cannot be swept under the rug. Denial is not an acceptable opinion and should not be tolerated. We, as a global community, need to face up to our past, and knowing that the wrongs can never be righted, We cannot leave here today just feeling saddened and upset. We must leave here with a new resolve to create change and increase understanding on this harsh topic. We are the present, we will be the future, and we will not forget the past.
Courage.
Love.
Faith.
Global justice.
Breeds compassion.
Resilience.
I hope for change.